Step number 6, dry lubing your brass. So after sizing and removing the one-shot lube from the outside of the brass, I do a dry lube to the neck of the brass prior to the mandrel and bullet seating. So I started off not doing a dry lube, then some friends talked about using it in their reloading process, so I decided I'd try it out and all seemed good. Then at some point I got a little lazy and I went away from it. I was thinking about my process one day and thought I should do a test between rounds loaded with the dry lube and without. I was surprised when it was significantly better both in SDs and group sizes using the dry lube. So I've gone back to using it on every match ammo ever since. I use the Imperial Dry Neck Lube from Redding. There are 2 jars, one has just the graphite powder in it, and the other has tiny ceramic balls that hold the powder and allow the disbursement of that graphite lube onto the brass easier. You need to replenish the ceramic balls every once in a while with the raw graphite lube. So you dip it in, and then I use a well-seasoned nylon brush to knock off the heavy stuff. The brush has a good amount of graphite lube on it from being used a lot, so it is only taking a small bit off. To make all this easier and somewhat self-contained for me, I made a tray that contains the 2 cans of dry lube and the ceramic media, and a T-nut that I glued on to hold the nylon brush. Then I took 4 paint brushes with the handles sawn off and screwed them down onto the tray. I use this to knock off the extra graphite lube on the outside of the neck. It does not get it all, but it does get a lot of it. So my process looks something like this. This is my tray. I have it mounted onto inline plate here on my bench. So I just connect it here so it's nice and secure. This is the graphite powder, the dry lube itself. Take that, and it just sits in its own little spot. This is the ceramic balls. Let's see, there we go. And you can see they're little ceramic balls, but they have the graphite that is on it, so it is easy to disperse. And then this is my very well seasoned nylon brush. It's had a lot of them on it, but I just screw it onto that little T-nut there. And then I take a piece of brass that looks pretty normal, and you dip it in a couple times. You can see it gets a lot blacker. It's kind of sooty on the outside. I dip it on the nylon brush and pull it off, and that knocks off the heavy stuff. And then I just wipe it through those brushes a little bit, and it has a lot less on it. And I just do that for every piece of brass. And that's what I do for dry lubing prior to my next step, which is the mandrel.